Hello my marvellous sausages, do you want to know how to upgrade your Warlock armour for this year's Solstice of Heroes? Well, I've got the complete list of everything that you need to do for the Renewed set, for the Majestic set, and for the Magnificent set. But before we dive into all the requirements, there's a few things you need to know first. First of all, make sure you've got the armour on, otherwise no progress will be had. So make sure you stick them on. You don't have to have every piece on like the complete set, you can just have individual pieces on if you want. But if I was you, I'd wear as many as you can because a lot of the objectives do cross over, so you'll get them done a lot quicker if you've got them all on. Of course, if you completed one, you can just take that baby off. Once you've completed all the objectives on one set, you need to meditate at the statue in order to upgrade it to the next one, and you'll get it all appearing all lovely down on the side there. That's nice. Now, a lot of the activities do revolve around the EAZ, so you can access that from the little font type thing next to Eva in the tower, or you can get to it directly from the map. And the one on the map will give you a lot more information because you can see here, for example, it's a Void and a Stasis day there, and it says equip your Void or Stasis subclass and weapons to generate corresponding orbs. Collect them to become empowered by the element of the final orb collected. And once you collect 30 of them, you're going to get Void empowerment, which grants invisibility while crouched, true sight, and enhanced ability energy generation, which is nice. And the Stasis empowerment reduces super energy drain, and defeated combatants spawn exploding stasis crystals. Another interesting thing you can see here as well is if you open 49 chests in the space of a week, you'll get a nice piece of pinnacle gear too. Now this year, Eva has got some armor accelerators for us. Now that basically means that you're going to speed up the progress of completing each set, your Renewed, your Majestic, and then your Magnificent. However, your first set you have to do at a normal pace because you can see here, it says, requires a single Solstice Tier 1 Legendary armor set. So for example, I'm going to have to complete my Warlock Renewed set in order to activate this accelerator. Now you might think, well, what bloody hell good is that to me because I've already done it? Well, what this does is speed up the progress on another character. So you go onto your Titan, for example, and the progress will be a lot quicker. And then once you've finished your Titan's Renewed armor, then you can pick up this one, which is the Rare Armor Accelerator 2, requires a pair of Solstice tier Legendary armor sets. So you've completed your Renewed with your Warlock and your Renewed with your Titan, so that means your Hunter will go at a faster speed again. And then that's basically what it means for those two. This next one, you have to have a single Solstice Tier 2 Legendary armor set. So you've completed your Majestic set. You've basically got one completed Majestic set, and then that means the Majestic set on your Titan will go faster, and then once you've got those two, you'll be able to pick up this one, and then your Hunter will go faster again, and then you'll be on Magnificent. Right, so let's go and see all the individual requirements for the Renewed set, Majestic set, and Magnificent set. So first of all, we'll do the Renewed set. For the Warlock, we'll take a quick look at the helmet. So you've got an EAZ run to complete, 200 orbs, so that can be of any kind, so it doesn't matter what the burn is for that day, and 20 finishes in any poor bugger. For our gloves, we've got playlist activities, we can zip in and see we've got complete strikes, Crucible or Gambit. I wonder what everyone's going to be doing. Strikes and Crucible, no doubt. People hate Gambit at the moment. I still quite like it, but never mind. Open Solstice packages, that means you've got to have 15 key fragments in order to open one package, to bear that in mind. And also defeat Cabal. You can do the Battlegrounds actually, which is a really handy place to get Cabal in, which you can get in the Vanguard playlist. You can see it in the bottom left hand corner there. Solstice robes, you've got to do 2 public events. It doesn't matter where you do them. You've got to collect Void or Stasis Elemental orbs in Strikes, Crucible or Gambit playlist activities, and then defeat Guardians in the Crucible or Gambit. Personally, I'd recommend you do it in the Crucible because it's going to take forever to do it in Gambit as it's one at a time, and this momentum control this week in Crucible, so that'll help you get your kills a little bit quicker. If you see a Mayhem playlist, jump in on that bugger, that'll be much faster. Okay, for our boots, we've got 1 patrol. Now that can be on any destination. Collect orbs of power as you're going and defeat combatants with your super abilities. That's not so bad. 50 orbs of power and 50 super abilities. And then finally, for our bond, we've got 3 lost sectors to do, and that can be anywhere. Collect Arc Elemental orbs in free roam on any destination. They want 200 of those babies, and then 100 precision kills. So all in all, that set's quite quick to do. Now, if you want to look at the Magnificent and the Majestic sets, we can go into collections, go into armor, go down to events, and then you can see on the last page, look, we've got all the new Solstice gear here. The only difference here is that we can't see exactly how many things we need to complete it until we actually get to that level, but it's certainly worth looking to know what we've got in store. So for the Majestic set, we've got to defeat 5 mini-bosses in the European aerial zone before the boss is summoned. Not too bad, I was doing 7 or 8 just now, so that's okay. Collect elemental orbs, and that means any delineation, whatever it is. And then we've also got to rapidly defeat combatants, which is no doubt multi-kills. So that's not so bad. That's for the helmet. For the harms, we've got to complete Altars of Sorrow on the Moon or override missions from Season of the Splicer. So that's okay, because Altars of Sorrow we can do whatever, and override missions from Season of the Splicer, I think I'd go for Altars of Sorrow personally. Mind you, override's not too bad, particularly if you're farming weapons for this season. That's another good way to do it. And then gain elemental empowerment buffs by collecting elemental orbs. So we're going to have to get a certain amount of empowerment buffs. Doesn't matter what they are, obviously, it's just as long as it's a buff. And there's 30 elemental orbs to collect, which gives you the buff. And then finally, we've got defeat combatants with arc weapons. It doesn't say where the combatants should be, because there was a problem with this last year, but it seems to be anywhere in the solar system. Excellent. Okay, let's go in and have a little look at the old robes, the Majestic robes. So what have we got? Choices. Complete blind well activities in the Dreaming City, or Wrathborn hunts from Season of the Hunt. So nice to have a choice there. Collect Solstice key fragments. Not so bad. And then finally, we've also defeat combatants with void grenades as well. Get your grenade builds up and running if you can. For our boots, our Celestine boots, let's take a squiz. Complete public events on Europa or Battlegrounds from Season of the Chosen. Well, there we go. That's good. Battlegrounds is popping up quite a bit, isn't it? Collect solar or stasis elemental orbs in Strikes, Crucible, or Gambit playlists. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then also defeat combatants with melee attacks while using a solar subclass. And then finally, for our bond, we've got complete Crucible Glory playlist activities, Nightfall Strikes, or matches in Trials of Osiris. So, Glory playlists, that's one of the harder ones to do if you're not into Crucible. Nightfall Strikes, it doesn't say that you have to do any of the higher ones, so you can jump in at Adept or Hero, and you'll be fine there because you'll get match made and get them done. Or if you like a bit of Trials of Osiris, then you can do that. It's nice that we got to pick. We don't have to do any one in particular. Collect Void Elemental Orbs in the European Aerial Zone activity. That's fair enough. And defeat Powerful Fallen. No doubt that's going to be mages or bosses, any yellow bars that we see. So all in all, the Majestic Solstice armor isn't looking too bad. Now, let's go for the Magnificent Solstice armor. So what's going to happen is, once you upgrade from Renewed to Majestic, you'll get the Majestic looking armor, which does look very pretty indeed. Now, what the Magnificent does is add a white glow to the Majestic armor. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to get the Magnificent armor to buy the glows from Eververse, but these add standard white glows anyway. So, now then, these are notoriously hard to do, plus these ones you don't have to do within the Solstice of Heroes event itself. The first two you do because there's EAZ activities in both of these, but these you can do outside of the event itself, so you can just do them at your leisure. So let's have a squiz here first of all at the hood. Now then, what have we got? Complete Nightfalls on Master or Grandmaster difficulty to enable this armor's white glow. Bloody hell's bells. I don't know whether or not I'll do that. I certainly won't do a bloody Grandmaster. You can kiss my tush. For the gloves, we've got complete any raid. Ooh, that's a big one. Complete any raid to enable this armor's white glow. Now, if you do raid, of course, this is going to be no problem because you do it on a weekly basis. For people who are generally solo players, that's a complete kick in the teeth. Okay, for the chest armor, we've got complete any dungeon during Solstice 2021. Ooh, hang on. That has to be done during Solstice, look. So, ooh, that's a tricky one. So make sure you do any dungeons. So do yourself a Pit of Heresy, Shattered Throne, or the Prophecy. Any of those. Everyone's got access to the Prophecy, haven't they? So that's probably the best one to do. But that's got to be during the solstice. So make sure you do that one if you're after your set of glows. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of cheesed off people out there. That's important, right? Okay, let's have a look at our boots. Defeat champions, okay, or defeat guardians in competitive crucibles. That's trials or the glory playlist. That's great. You've got the option of doing glory if you don't do trials, because of course that's not match made. And there we are. That's it for that one. Champions is probably what I'd go for, to be perfectly honest. And finally, for our bond, complete legendary or master lost sector to enable this armor's white glow. Well, I've got guides on to complete loads of those, and we should all be able to run a legendary lost sector, no worries at all. So let's have a quick look at Eververse. For the Warlock, it's 1500 silver to buy, or 6000 brighter, so not too bad. I'm skinters on both of those there, so I don't know whether or not I'm going to be getting it this year, but maybe if I do enough of my weekly challenges, I'll be able to get it. Let's have a look at it. It is quite pretty, though, isn't it? It is quite pretty. I do like it. It's quite ornamental this year. I mean, very ornamental. I don't know. I think I prefer last year's, to be honest. So those are all the requirements for the Warlock armor set for this solstice. Some nasty ones tucked in there in the Magnificent set, wouldn't you say? Now, I'm going to be dropping guides on the Titan and also the Hunter over the next day or so as well. So if you want to be notified, don't forget, drop me a subscribe and a like if you enjoyed the video, and click the notification bell as well, and then it'll go, look, I've dropped another one on the webs. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Sausage out.